Today we're going to talk about the most notorious, the most infamous curse in world football, and that is the Manchester United curse. Now before I start, could you like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know what your thoughts are on the Manchester United curse. Now, for those who don't know about the Manchester United curse, it's about a player, and this part depends. Sometimes they're good or sometimes they just come in, but when they leave Manchester United, they leave with their career in the bin and really a downward spiral when they're in Manchester United. And when they leave, supposedly, they come out great. So when they enter Manchester United, they're really bad. They leave, they're really great. We're going to talk about 5 players who this has happened to. Now, if you want a part 2, let me know and I'll make a part 2. Let's start off with first player, a really great player, and who was supposedly like Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan, Di Maria to Lionel Messi, and that is Angel Di Maria. Angel Di Maria, such a great player, genuinely world class, and he's one of those players which should have an icon card in FIFA, but he might not because of he was really in the shadow of Lionel Messi. Now let's start off before he went to Manchester United. He had been at Real Madrid, and I don't think they did go on to win the Champions League at the time, but he was in that insane Real Madrid team that went to the Champions League semi-finals and lost to Bayern Munich in penalties. And no, I think he did win the Champions League in 2014, and he won the Champions League in 2014, and then he was going to go to Manchester United. Now Manchester United, he went to join them in like 2015, and at that time they had been managed by Louis van Gaal. And Di Maria at the time, he lasted 1 season. But before this, he was a really great player. He was great for Real Madrid, and all the Manchester United fans were really optimistic. This was a signing that could, take him to the next level, because the team had been a little bit bad, and they had just, they're just recovering from what David Moyes had done to their team. And he went in, and he was okay, but he wasn't the best. He wasn't that good. He did go on to win an FA Cup, and then the next season he left. And after that, his career still went pretty good. And the reason people give that Di Maria flopped Manchester United is because the shirt was too heavy. I think that's absolutely nonsense, because he was playing at Real Madrid and he was great. He was phenomenal at Real Madrid, and that shirt is much more heavier than pretty much any other football shirt in the world. And I mean that metaphorically, obviously. And Di Maria, he was great at Real Madrid, and then after he left Manchester United, he was still great. I mean, he went to PSG, he had a stellar 7 years there, then he went to Juventus for a year or 2, then he went to Benfica, right now he's at Argentina. And in all those years, he was great, he was phenomenal. And he even went on to win the World Cup, and he won numerous league titles with PSG, and kind of joined in that dynasty of PSG. And he made a lethal attack and was one of the main reasons that Argentina actually went on to win the World Cup. And to say he flopped at Manchester United, for his standards, probably yes. But did he revive his career? 100%. And that's one person who's been affected by the Manchester United curse. And for him, it was not the theatre of dreams at all. Now the next is, some people call him the GOAT, Antony. Now Antony, he was at Ajax. And at Ajax, he was pretty good. He was managed under Erik ten Hag. And under Erik ten Hag, he was actually quite great. And I'm pretty sure he was in that team that got to the Champions League semi-finals. And the thing is, Erik ten Hag, he went to Manchester United. He brought Antony along with him. The price tag was really way too high, about 90 million euros, I think, for Antony. And Antony, people say he flopped. I probably have to agree with them. He did do that skill, and he got memed way too much. But then Real Betis happened, and he got loaned out to Real Betis mid-season, and he went on to play about 17 games, and he got about 5 goals, 2 assists, and was instrumental in getting Real Betis to the Conference League final. And they did lose to Chelsea, which you were probably expected to, because they are world champions. And he actually did much better at Real Betis. I'm pretty sure he scored in one of his first 3 games, and he did great there. And I think he's on a permanent move there. I'm not too sure about that, but that's another player who's been affected by the Manchester United curse. And even this season, he started out pretty good. He played 4 games and he's really great there, and the fans love him, they adore him. To be honest, he should probably stay there at Real Betis. And I just feel like this is another player that didn't find Manchester United the theatre of dreams. The next player we've got is Scott McTominay. And Scott McTominay is a different case because, everyone else, they came from another club, came from abroad, came from anywhere. But Scott McTominay, from what I remember, he kind of came through the academy. And he wasn't like the talk of the academy, but he still came through the academy and he did pretty good. And I remember his last 2-3 seasons, I rated McTominay quite a lot. Not to the level he is right now, but I still think that's a great player there. I don't know why Manchester United are selling him, and he's a phenomenal player. And he just had something about him. He had like that Manchester United-ness about him, that he actually cared for the club. He went for the balls, he went for the runs, he made the dribbles, and that's why I really love McTominay. I really started liking him, and then he got sold to Napoli. And this is one where he didn't really flop at United. I thought he did okay, but they sold him, thought got a good deal, but he upped his level at Napoli. And I think the main reason for him not being as good as he is at Manchester United compared to Napoli is because of the manager Conte. He leveled him up way too much. And Scott McTominay and De Bruyne is actually a midfield that is actually scary in Serie A, and they actually do have a good chance of winning the Champions League. But let's talk about last season, where he was actually instrumental for Napoli winning the league, and he did absolutely great there. He got 12 goals and 4 assists in 34 appearances. That might not sound a lot, but he was really, really great for Napoli and really did help him go on and win the league. And this season he's played 6 games and he scored a goal, and really he's just been a phenomenal player for Napoli and Antonio Conte. But I do believe if Antonio Conte did go to Manchester United, McTominay would have been to the levels that you would see right now. That's on my belief. Next, we got the always memed Andre Onana. Now, Andre Onana, he's a great keeper, and people are going to laugh at me. Yes, he's a great keeper. You know why? He got Inter Milan, not single-handedly, but he was in the Inter Milan team that reached the Champions League final, and they did lose to Manchester City that year. And he was actually really great up until the final. Even the final, he was great. That whole season, he was great at Inter Milan. Then he went to Manchester United, and me personally, I thought he'd be one of the best keepers in the league, and it just didn't start off good for him. And this is a keeper who is at Ajax, Barcelona, Inter Milan, and he's played in these big matches before. He's wore heavy shirts. I don't know what the reason was with him flopping, and everything about him just didn't work at Manchester United, and he kind of did flop. He let in a lot of goals, he got memed a lot, he conceded a lot, his communication wasn't that good, and he made a lot of mistakes. And in the end, he didn't win too much at Manchester United. I guess, he did go on to win the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, but he went on to lose the Europa League final, and he was in that Manchester United team that had the record low in a long, long time. I think last year they came 16th place. And since then, this season, he's been loaned out to Trabzonspor. That's a Turkish league team, and he's played 4 games, 2 clean sheets and an assist, and he's really, upped his game. In his first match, he was like man of the match. And yes, he got his Turkish league, and I think that's one of the main reasons why he's playing that good, because remember, this is a guy who played in Serie A, game in, game out, played in the Champions League final. He's a great keeper, and this is the reason why he's gone to Trabzonspor. I think it's more confidence thing for him, and it helps some goalkeepers. They need a bit more confidence, and then he can come back to Manchester United or whatever club he is, and he'll still be great. And this is another example, of the Manchester United curse, working, I guess. Then we got Alexis Sánchez. This was some time ago. Now, Sanchez since then has gone to a lot of clubs, but let's start off with what happened before. He was at Arsenal, and he was their talisman. He was a great player for Arsenal, and you could say his best player. And for me, I think he was their best player. It was always that debate: Sanchez, Hazard, or Coutinho, and United fans were really happy that they had got Sanchez. It was like how Di Maria went to Manchester United. That was the same feeling for Manchester United fans when Sanchez went to United. But even in the first month or week, Sanchez wanted to go back to Arsenal. and I don't know why he flopped, to be honest, because he played in the Premier League before, he was great before, no idea why, but he kind of did flop. Then what happened is he went to Inter Milan, played 3 seasons there, and he did look not that good, to be honest. And then he went to Marseille for a season. He actually did pretty good there, 14 goals in Ligue 1. And then he went to Inter Milan, and now he's at Sevilla, where he's got 2 goals and in about like 4 games, and he's just been really good there. And in his career he's won Copa Americas, and he actually has been pretty good. And I mean, he just beat Barcelona 4-1, his team Sevilla, and I feel like he is slowly starting to revive his career. I feel like it's going to be like how James Rodriguez kind of was close to doing. I think he's going to do the same. Sanchez is going to go to Sevilla, and then he'll slowly up his level. But I think Sevilla might be one of his last European clubs, in my opinion. But it did go downhill after he joined Manchester United, but he slowly climbed up. So what do you think? What do you think of the Manchester United curse? I think one of the main reasons the Manchester United curse, I think, is the weather. You're going to be like, what's the weather? It doesn't matter that much. But if you look at all these players, who they were playing for before, they were for Spanish clubs, or they were South American. They used to hot weather. And Manchester United and Manchester, it's really rainy, it's cold, it's not good. I think they just didn't like it, then they were homesick. I feel that's one of the main reasons. And I feel that's one of the main reasons they actually did flop. Might be, too out there, but still, that's in my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know. Could you like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know if I should do a part 2, because there's so much players. And let me know what other curses you want me to make a video on. And thank you for watching.